Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Qualified Podcast. With me today is the lovely Briana Jackson with her business, Atlanta Cleaning Geeks. Thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your story with not just me, but with everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Michael.
Of course. Let's just start with some basic background information. Where were you born? Where'd you grow up? All that good stuff.
So I actually grew up in Maryland. That's where I consider myself from. Small town in Maryland, Howard County. Grew up there, went to middle school, high school, and then I ended up going to North Carolina State University for college.
Awesome. What would you say best thing about Maryland is for you?
Oh, the Maryland blue crabs, of course.
Okay. What's that? I'm Midwest boy, completely oblivious.
Maryland is by the water, so we have what we call Maryland blue crabs, the best crabs in the world, anywhere that you can get. So whenever I go to Maryland, my mission is to get some crabs, crab cakes. The lump crab is where it's at.
So highly suggest that if I ever visit. Yes? Okay.
If you go to Maryland, yes.
Okay. So you mentioned when you go back to Maryland, where are you located now?
I'm in Atlanta.
Atlanta. Okay. So you are running the business from Atlanta, not like remote from Maryland.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. And then, so growing up as a kid, everybody's got all these things running through their mind about what they want to do, second grade teacher giving you a project, stuff like that. What was yours? What was your thing that you wanted to do?
So I just knew I was going to be a criminal defense attorney. That was my mission. That was my goal. I was going to law school. I was going to do the whole thing. And then, as life went on, you start to learn a little bit more about life and how things work. So clearly we didn't quite end up there, but yes, I am happy with ultimately my decision.
Money in that field is fantastic. That is a benefit.
It's a great benefit, but the work-life balance is not very good. And, I'm very big on family, and I've always wanted to have my own family, which I do now. And I just knew that I wanted to be home with my family and my kids and spending a lot of time with them. And I just learned as a lawyer, you just can't really do that, at least in the very beginning. So
a lot of, I don't want to say negatives, maybe a lot of drawbacks to that career path. Lawyers in general, it's just very time consuming, especially right after you pass the bar and you're entry level,
Absolutely.
But you're happy with your career choice going forward. Okay. So anybody in your family a business owner that you could have, through the years learned from or learning from now, or not so much?
No, not at all. Growing up, everyone around me, they worked 9 to 5s, went to school. And so that's what was really hammered down onto me, get good grades, go to college, get a good job. And that is pretty much the path I was following, until I was in college and saw the real world. And then I said, okay, we have to make some different decisions here. Things are changing. Things weren't the way they were with our parents' generation, and technology is just so much different. I mean, we have social media now.
Yeah.
So the fact that we can leverage that, I think, changes everything.
And good old YouTube University, where everything is free.
Absolutely. I mean, we have information at our fingertips. So if you're not utilizing that, then what are you really doing?
I mean, almost to a point sometimes where it's too much, right? Where
it is.
You have, now there are apps to literally limit you from being on your phone, and kind of scary, to think about where we've gone in the last 20 years with tech, especially cell phones. So did you graduate college?
I did. So I did 2 years at NC State, and then eventually I finished at Clayton State here in Georgia.
Okay. And
a few years ago.
Degree is in
psychology, because I was going to go to law school.
Okay.
So I chose psychology as my major. So I do have a psychology degree. And that's just where it stands now. And now I'm running the cleaning business.
Isn't that funny how life works?
It is. It is very funny.
So going into just the general business question. So when did you first start the cleaning service?
So we got started in about 2023. I started researching and gaining interest around the pandemic, 2021. You talk about the abundance of information online, and everyone was dropping courses and, hey, you can make money doing this, make money doing that. And business, yeah, the cleaning business really caught my eye. So that's when I really started looking more into it around the pandemic time, but we launched in 2023.
Any inspiration behind that, starting, of all things, a cleaning service?
Yeah, so there were a couple of influencers. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Hartrimony. I believe that is their page name.
I believe
their names are Anthony and Janica, I believe.
Yes, I think husband and wife.
Yes. Yep. So there was them and then Liam as well. Those are the two main people I would say I really followed heavily. And, I did invest in some of their courses and really started there as far as learning and educating myself. Okay, how do I get into this and how do I get started?
Awesome. So investment wise, still kind of in the middle of the pandemic. Pricing everywhere is all over the place, not including courses. What did you invest to get started, to get off the ground with the business?
Not including courses, I would say, less than $1,000, very minimal startup costs. The main cost was investing in that education and, really figuring out a course of action and how do we actually structure this business so that it does work? What do I do with these pain points? How do I hire? How do I get employees? I think that is where most of the money was definitely spent. But everything else, registering the business, website, software, all that good stuff, it was minimal.
Would you say that the courses that you purchased were, well, first off, were they beneficial? Do you believe they helped you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Love to hear that, because there are obviously people who sell courses and are unfortunately either too young into the game that they don't know the ins and outs, or it's just a cash grab that they think they pulled information from YouTube and now they're repurposing it. But you found some great mentors. So I already assumed that the information was well worth it. Challenges. What have been some challenges that you have faced already or throughout your process now in 2 years with your business?
Sure. I think the number one challenge is hiring. If you're not always hiring, then you're eventually going to run into issues. And I think that in this industry, it is difficult to source good talent. I mean, it's hard to find good work in any industry now. So with cleaning being a very hard labor task, and then you're also looking for someone that is professional, can communicate well, is, pleasing to the eye to customers and speaks very well. That is where the biggest issue lies, just finding reliable workers.
It's especially in cleaning.
Yes.
The two go hand in hand. It's not enough work, not enough cleaners, too much work, not enough cleaners, vice versa. And it's always the round and round.
Always trying to find that balance.
And it's hard. It just doesn't seem like there's a perfect balance. But as a business owner, you always have to strive to make that balance as close as possible. What's your competition look like in Atlanta, and how are you different from everybody else?
Atlanta is a hot market. I mean, we have many smaller cities within Atlanta. We have suburbs. Atlanta itself is just a huge metro area. So the competition is steep. It is very steep. However, I will say that what truly sets us apart is our customer service. I'm answering the majority of the phone calls throughout the day. So I am speaking with all of the customers. I'm speaking with all of our cleaners and our cleaning teams. So I'm really understanding what those pain points are. Just even having a human on the other end of the phone nowadays is rare when you call into a business.
Absolutely.
So just being there and just listening to them, having a conversation with them, understanding really what it is that they're looking for, and then also being there and owning up to any mistakes if there were to ever be any mistakes. I think that is what truly sets it apart versus just being, another business. You go and book a cleaning online, someone comes and that's it. You've never even spoken with anyone in the office. So are you truly happy with the service? And that's what we want to know. We take pride in customer satisfaction.
As much as we just talked about technology like a couple minutes ago, and with AI being skyrocketing now, not necessarily how it was previously with, the really robotic voices that were on there or having a VA, but now AI is so good that you don't know necessarily if it's a person or AI. And
you have to ask sometimes.
Yeah, it's scary. It is a little bit scary, but as the business owner, handling the calls still and, being from the area, you can give that connection. Like you say, you pride in that customer service.
Absolutely.
Versus, a franchise who's, just borrowing the name, or, somebody who just doesn't care, just wants another paycheck. Right. So huge for you. I know everybody does it differently. Yeah. Some people just don't want to be on the phone and they don't want to necessarily do that. So they will use AI, or somebody who loves text so much that AI is going to be every aspect of it. Which is fine. Again, everybody does it differently. And that's what's beautiful about this industry with services. You can run it a million different ways and you're not going to be exactly the same as the next person.
Yes. And eventually I do, want to get away from being on the phone all day. Of course, sure. I do. But at this time, I'm just not there yet. We're still enhancing our processes and our procedures, but it's coming. We'll get there soon.
That's good. Have you, since you're still answering the phones, have you ever had to make a super tough decision that resulted in a significant impact on the business?
I would say one of the biggest decisions was letting go of one of our top cleaners. She did a lot of work with us, and it was really hard because we really liked her. And, of course, we always want to keep people employed. But it just got to a point where we weren't seeing eye to eye. And unfortunately, for the betterment of the business, we did end up having to let her go. So I do think, that is something that is difficult. And then on the rare occasion, if we do have a customer complaint or a cleaning just goes, terribly wrong, and we're talking about a full refund situation, that's never a decision I want to make. But again, as I was stating earlier, we take pride in having accountability and just doing what we need to do for our customers, just doing the right thing.
And that's what it all comes down to. That's how you are going to get those one times into recurrings, and the recurrings to essentially stay recurrings and buy more service or even refer you out to family and friends.
That lifetime value. Absolutely.
It's where it's at. The biggest thing being a business owner is time. Yeah. How do you prioritize and manage your time by still obviously taking calls, but also trying to hire and run the business, market, do everything, wear all the business owner hats? How are you doing it?
Well, booking Koala is a big help. I will say that, as far as just being able to easily schedule everything, I can pull it up on my phone and, just be mobile with it if I'm out and about. I just recently had a baby, so that has...
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. He's 4 months now, so this past year has been a little bit different in terms of, preparing for that. So booking Koala has been great. I also utilize automations as far as, following up or reminders or just in general marketing. So that way I'm not having to, manually do certain things every day. Of course, I have a task list. I keep that updated. This is what I need to do. Make sure this is done by, X date. And that's pretty much it.
Okay. Well, I have a 6-month-old daughter, so thank you for that. You're probably right around that 4-month sleep regression.
Oh yeah.
How are you
handling? Oh my gosh.
Is he sleeping in your room in a bassinet, like bedside?
He is, but now he knows how to roll and get to his stomach. So throughout the night, we have to constantly adjust him, make sure, he can breathe and everything. And
sure.
He can't quite get back from his stomach to his back. So we're constantly fixing him. So there is a lack of sleep. So that makes it a bit more difficult to run a business. But, as long as you have those processes in place, then it really makes things a lot easier.
Big help. In a couple months, teething. Yeah. My daughter's teething right now. Oh.
So if you have any tips or tricks, let me know.
I was just about to ask you the same. I didn't sleep last night. My wife works nights, so it was me and my daughter, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know. I don't know how to help. I don't know. And it's like the cutting is right there, and it just nothing helps. I'm like, thought real quick back to the old but the trick that our parents or grandparents, a little shot of whiskey. I mean, maybe,
yes.
Possibly, I don't know.
Right where you consider it.
Yeah, it's like the sleep deprivation is getting there, and I'm like, I'll do anything.
Right.
The teeters aren't working.
We'll past that soon.
Yeah. Going into leadership, what would you say your leadership style is like?
I would say I'm pretty laid back, as far as going back to that hiring, we look for those red flags. We look for great employees. So I try to minimize a lot of those issues up front. And then I'm very clear as far as what our expectations are. So as long as you're following our expectations, I'm not going to bother you because I don't want to. However, I don't like to, repeat things I've said several times, or, if I address something one time, it should be corrected after that. So I also do make sure that I keep an open communication line, open channel. I am here for feedback. We aren't perfect. I'm not perfect. And I don't know every single little thing that happens. So just let us know. You can come to us and talk to us. If something's not working for you, let us know. Maybe there's something on my end that I can change to make things better for everyone. I love to collaborate. And, like I said, I am open to hearing what things can be different just to make things better.
That translates into keeping positive company culture and making sure everybody's on the same page. What's your go-to for that? How are you maintaining that positivity and just making sure everything is cohesive?
Yeah. Just constantly making sure that we do give positive feedback. Again, you're talking about a job that involves cleaning, hard work. Our cleaners are on their hands and knees and scrubbing high places. Their back may be burning. So just understanding what they are going through on a day-to-day basis, and understand they're not sitting in the office, like I am, just talking to clients on the phone. They're in there in the trenches, in the heat. Sorry. So just understanding exactly where they're coming from, being flexible, not necessarily hounding on them every single time there is an issue, or, being a micromanager. Hey, it's 5 minutes past the cleaning time. Where are you at? Just having grace with people. And
sure.
Yeah. And like I said, just being there for them if they ever need anything.
It's all about keeping, yourself positive and motivated, and the trickle down effect, right? With everybody, and just being kind. The kindness goes a long way.
Yeah.
How are you handling setbacks and failures?
So as far as setbacks and failures, the way we see it is this shouldn't happen again. And if it does happen again, then there needs to be a process in place. Like I mentioned earlier, if we are talking about a client complaint, let's say, someone says, hey, the cleaning was horrible, or, the oven wasn't cleaned. It was a move out cleaning. We have procedures in place for that. Okay, let's go through the checklist. Did the cleaner complete the checklist? Did they take before and after photos? Did they complete a walkthrough with the client? Was there a breakdown anywhere in our processes that led to this situation? Did we explain to the client all of the areas that are going to be cleaned? So we always double check to see if there was anything in our process that was wrong, and then go from there. And then, it's going to be the same situations that do come up, whether it's a client complaint or the cleaner is running late. We always have a process for it. So you don't have to think twice, well, what should we do this time? Here's the process for it. So we just follow that process, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Keeping processes in place just makes everything that much smoother. If you don't have one, you will eventually get it once you run into something. If you're able to catch it sooner, if you're, talking with a mentor or another business owner that's kind of at the same place as you, or maybe a little bit further, and you're just like, hey, what are some tips, tricks? And they give you, hopefully you could get that in place before you run into any issues. Because then you just automatically know how to handle it. It's not learn and then handle. It's handle.
Yes. Like early on, we didn't, it wasn't a thing for us to ask if the utilities were still on, for example, for move in or move out cleaning.
Oh, yeah.
So, and early on, we may arrive to a property and the water is not even on. Well, we never deal with that ever now, because on the phone, we say, hey, the water must be on for us to do the cleaning.
Sure.
Water. So
you're not bringing your own water.
Exactly. But that's something that, we didn't think of in the beginning, because it was kind of a duh, we need water.
Right.
But as long as we say it to the client, then we're covered. We're good to go.
Perfect. 4-month-old son. How is that relationship with work-life balance for you? How are you maintaining that, especially being, so young in with your son and with your business?
Every day it's not easy, but I am very grateful that I am in a place to be able to, hold my son with one hand, and my right hand, I'm on the laptop and I'm taking a booking call on speakerphone. It might seem a little bit difficult, but I'm so grateful that I don't have to send him off to daycare, or I can be there with him all day, because this business just brings me so much freedom. That I have so much flexibility. I may miss a call here and there, of course, but I always call clients back. But the fact that I'm able to just see all of those early moments and just be there with my son every moment, it's just amazing. And I'm just blessed that we live in this era to where we can do all of this from home.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. It's working from home and just being able to see my daughter, not on an interview because it'd be quite loud in here, but if I'm doing other things, she's pretty much next to me, just playing here, and I get to be part with her. She gets to kind of see me work. And it's funny sometimes, just, I'm like, why are you so quiet? And she's just staring at the computer, and I'm like, no screen time for you.
And it's like, well, I have to work, but I don't want you to have screen time, but I have to watch you. So. Yeah. I totally get it.
It's a blessing though. Because 30 years ago, if you ran a cleaning service, it wasn't remote. You were, you don't even have to go that far back where there was an office and, in-home estimates. People would come to the house to tell you how much the cleaning would be. That's, I would say, 20 years ago, they were still doing that. Businesses still do it. Post-construction, there are reasons why you would definitely want to go in still, but that was just the norm. When this first started happening, people were like, "You're not coming to my house? What do you mean? How are you gonna? I could just tell you how big my house is, and that's how much it's gonna be." So it's how fast we expand in such a short amount of time is wild.
It's amazing.
It is. It is. Would you say your son is? I'm going to venture to guess your main priority. Not he's obviously your main priority, but your main driving factor for your motivation.
Yes, absolutely. And just going back to being with him on a day-to-day basis, might be dealing with something difficult in the business, and then you look over and he's just giving you the biggest smile in your face. It just is the
Always
sweetest
good in the world.
reminder. Yeah, all is good in the world. Just remember just to focus on the positive. Know that you're doing this for your child, your family. And the fact that this is something that eventually I'll be able to pass down to him, or soon he's going to be able to help me in some kind of way in the business and learn from it. Growing up, I didn't have that. Both of my parents worked 9-to-5 jobs. So they were away, we're at school or daycare, and it's different. I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing, but again, I am grateful that I get to, spend this time and see my motivation right next to me and say, okay, let me go harder. Let me do a few more phone calls. Let me do a few more emails so that I can push further and reach my goals.
Or on the flip side, take a step back and just be with your motivation when you need it. If you have a down day, which is totally normal, anybody watching, if you think everything is a super big rush and high every day because you're an entrepreneur, no. There are going to be days where it sucks.
Everything goes wrong. Yes, everything will go wrong.
All of it goes wrong. And, and on top of that, you stub your toe 3 times in the same spot. And it's just an absolute nightmare.
Yes.
Have you had some big, important lessons that you've learned just from being the business owner in the last 2 years?
Yeah. I would say understanding that every customer does have their own lifetime value. So instead of just looking at a customer, they're just getting this one-time move-in cleaning or this one-time standard cleaning, understanding the importance of at least trying to convert them into recurring. So that way we do have that recurring revenue, especially during the slower, like winter months. We do see that slowdown. So just understanding the importance of that. Versus it just being a one-time transaction.
And that's the biggest thing, is always getting the one-times to become your recurring and to continue on. In any business, you want that repeat. You want the referral. You want it. Essentially, you want it all at once, but you also have to make sure, going back to the processes, the procedures, making sure you can handle it all at the same time.
That as well.
With your laid back approach with leadership, how does that translate into your approach to decision making and problem solving?
I would say I'm very not laid back when it comes to problem solving and decision making. I want things to be done right away. I don't want problems to linger. So, for example, if a client does come to us with an issue, we're going to the cleaner right away and saying, hey, we have this issue, X, Y, Z is happening. Let's figure out how we can get this resolved. I'm very direct with it. If we do get, any kind of feedback, I'm going to tell my client or cleaners immediately. I'm going to address it with the client immediately. That's what I would say. I'm pretty direct.
Not straight and to the point. It has to be. Because the longer you push it out, or not necessarily beat around the bush, it just snowballs, and no point in that. Transitions and changes that you've had to make now, being a business owner, being a mom.
Oh yeah.
What have been some of those hard ones that you've had to go through?
Yeah. So I worked in the mortgage industry for about 8 years. I was a mortgage loan processor. So again, with the 9 to 5, doing that day in and day out. And I was already working from home. So that wasn't new for me. But I think maintaining a sense of structure now that I'm on my own, I don't have to clock in, clock out, be accountable to whatever my job is telling me to do. I have to create my own to-do list. If I'm not working on my business and just in it, then my business is not going to grow. So making sure, we're coming up with new ideas, coming up with new marketing channels, and all of that just takes a lot more effort for me to be self-sufficient and just, wanting to reach those goals. So I think just getting out of that, I only work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 type of mindset. I have to answer calls on Saturdays and Sundays too. I miss having my weekends with just not thinking about work, but, I'm able to go on vacation whenever I want. I can just get up and travel and leave whenever I want. And I think that's the beauty of it. Just recognizing that, I am autonomous, but, I have that flexibility now. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. And hiring goes into more of not being, able to have weekends. You got to have employees or contractors. So which route did you go? Did you go the employee route or the independent contractor route?
Both. So we do both.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And that's both in the cleaning.
Yeah.
So you did a mix. What was the driving factor for that?
Just more so, the availability of each cleaner varies heavily. So, a lot of cleaners, they run their own businesses, they do a lot of outside work. And then some cleaners, they work only with us. So those ones that are with us from a day-to-day on a regular basis, those are the ones we're more so W-2. And then we do some contracting work as well.
And how many in total do you have?
About 20.
20. Okay. 20 in 2 years. That is
always be hiring.
Always be hiring. You are always hiring. That's for sure.
People come, people go, availability changes, people get pregnant, they move.
Yeah.
So, and that can happen at any moment. Your best cleaner can come to you and say, hey, I'm out, I'm leaving Georgia. And, I have to be able to pivot. So.
For sure. Where do you focus your hiring?
Mainly Indeed. I think Indeed has been a great channel. Put together a good job ad, and we definitely utilize ChatGPT in this business. So put together a good job ad and go through the candidates from there.
Okay. Do you utilize a little
bit?
I think we're back now.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. And so do you utilize the hiring portion in your booking call account?
I do not currently.
Okay.
That is something I will check out.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely helps streamline all those processes. Okay. So what is vaguely, if you want to go vague or if you want to go in detail, your hiring process look like?
When we post the job ad to Indeed, we also utilize Facebook as well. So with Indeed, post the job ad, you get your applicants in, go through their resumes. And with Indeed, you can also do custom questions. So I try to use that as a good disqualifier. How are they answering the question? Did they even answer the questions to begin with? And then if we get past those questions, then, okay, is this a good person? Let me reach out to them. I might even do a quick Google search. What was up there? You'd be surprised. And then reach out, do a full interview process. If I am trying to hire from Facebook, usually there are cleaners in different cleaning groups, Airbnb groups. They post that they're looking for work or that, they are having a cleaning special. So we'll reach out to them as well and say, hey, are you interested in working with us? We do have jobs in the Atlanta area. And then we'll pretty much go from there.
Test clean?
Oh, yeah. And that is another thing that we weren't doing in the beginning. And if I could tell you the horror stories, we started in 2023 and you just don't know what you don't know.
Sure.
And my number one advice is to do a test clean with every single cleaner. Because you can get through the entire interview process, get them scheduled, and everything just seems perfect. And then the day of the cleaning, you'll be ghosted, or they'll say they're on their way and then they never show up. And you just don't know what it just happens like that sometimes.
Yeah.
There will be absolutely no red flags, but that test cleaning will tell you everything you need to know. If they can show up to that test cleaning on time and, do what they're supposed to do, then you should have a good candidate with you.
Do you utilize your own home as the test clean home? Okay.
I do. And family and friends as well.
Do they know you're the owner of the company?
No.
Good. Okay. Because I was going to say, it's if they know, then you're loading them up. You're setting them up for success at that point.
Right. So, so we do set it up so it just seems like a regular client. And then, of course, I have to go hide all my paraphernalia in the house. But the great thing is I get to see what the cleaner looks like in person, how they show up, how they speak to me, and then ultimately how they do a great job cleaning. And then I get a cleaning as well. So that's nice.
It is nice. Yeah. You kind of mentioned red flags. What would be a red flag on an application for you?
So we do ask questions as far as what type of cleaning techniques and materials they use. And right away, I can tell you whether or not you clean on a regular basis or not. So, if you can immediately name off to me a specific oven cleaner or just any specific cleaner. And I'm not talking about just Clorox. I'm talking about actual cleaners. I'm not trying to give all the secrets.
Windex.
I'm looking for specific keywords. What are you using to clean the baseboards? What is your procedure for mopping? So based on what that feedback is, I can tell whether or not that they're an actual cleaner or this is just someone who, may have cleaned for family and friends here and there. Because everyone can clean. And that's what you have to kind of sift through when you're going through your hiring process.
Absolutely. It's a double-edged sword. In this industry for cleaning, it's easy because, like you said, everybody can clean. Mm-hmm. But there's a proper way to do house cleaning when you're going to somebody's home.
Yes.
Staying in your own house and cleaning up, mm-hmm. if you come from a background where you do house cleaning or you're more particular, it's going to look good. Right. Mm-hmm. You're a college boy or in college and you just don't care.
Yeah.
Yet maybe not the right person to hire there. Right. Mm-hmm. Especially without a test clean.
Yes.
Ideal candidate. Flip side of that question. What's an ideal candidate look like for you?
I am looking for someone who asks a lot of questions.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's a super complex industry, but just the fact that you are going to people's personal homes and you are going to clean, you're touching their personal items. It's kind of a little bit more of an intimate experience. So I'm looking for those who are asking thorough questions. What do I do if I arrive and XYZ is the case? Or how do I handle it if this, or what do you all do if, this happens? And that tells me that, they've been in certain situations before where they've had to problem solve on site, or they've worked with other companies who may not have handled things very well in the past. So we try to, look for cleaners that are asking thorough questions, giving thorough answers. Again, naming exact techniques. I use bar keepers for the tub, something like that. That tells me that they are actually working in this business and not just trying to do it as like a side hustle.
Sure. I love barkeepers, friend. My stainless steel pans after like a month, throw that on there for a little bit, like brand new. I love it.
Barkeepers are great.
And I mean, you mentioned or you answered this in the beginning was, are you always hiring or do you pause? But with 20 cleaners and knowing anything can happen at a moment's notice, you are on top of that
Yes.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now the flip side to hiring is, what do you do for all these people that you have hired now? Is marketing. What are you currently doing for your marketing efforts, whether it's paid, free, anything like that?
So when we started with Google LSA, and that was our main source of marketing. Of course, we're doing just regular social media, Facebook, Instagram posting, just the free regular posts. So now we aren't currently doing LSA. Their pricing has gotten pretty up there, but we are just doing great word of mouth. And I've really started focusing on making sure that we are getting Google reviews. And that has really made a huge difference in just as far as website clicks and phone calls. It's very organic right now. So we don't actually have any paid ads going right now. Which is
no paid.
Nothing, not right now. I want to, explore some avenues soon. But again, we just recently had a baby, so things have been hectic. I haven't been able to just answer every single call. So when we start talking about paying for leads, it's like, I need someone that's there at the phone at all time to answer every call. So we're not just losing money. But luckily, and, very grateful, we are getting a lot of organic leads.
So do you have SEO optimized? Are you ranking for SEO, or is it just you're naturally coming up pretty high in your area?
We've done a little bit of SEO, not much. We're still kind of working on that. And I wouldn't say that we're ranking super high either. I think that I really think it's the recent Google reviews. We're constantly getting reviews now. And that goes back to me having an automation in place. When the cleaning is complete, immediately we're asking for a review. How was your cleaning? And then, of course, we only sift through the 4 and 5-star reviews. So. But I think that's truly what's pushing us to the top of the search.
Well, in a little bit, we're going to go over revenue and money sides of things. So I'm very, very excited to see where you're at with no paid, because no paid is extremely hard, especially with no SEO. Like if it's just referrals and off of reviews, it only means that once you turn on the paid ads, you're going to be hiring 3 times as fast.
Oh, yeah. And I'm looking forward to that. Just have to get into a place. I'm looking to bring on a VA soon. So I'm working to get all of those documents and onboarding procedures in place. So that way I can have some help with the phones, because I am mainly, with my son throughout the entire day. But once we have that in place, I'm ready to get these LSA ads back going, get some Facebook ads going, and really, really ramp it up here.
Can't wait for it for you as well, because that's just, phone's not going to stop ringing, and just means more money.
Absolutely.
There you go. How are you leveraging the data that you have into decision making, like turning off paid ads or turning them back on or ramping up hiring? How are you leveraging all that?
So one feature that we do use within Booking Koala is the reports feature. So I started looking at that even more in depth. I was actually looking at it before we got on our call. So it is a quick way to just see your quick revenue. You can see your payments to your cleaners in there. You can see what your recurring is, how many one-time cleans. And I actually started populating that into my own separate spreadsheet. And I'll be doing it weekly to see, okay, are we increasing in recurring cleans? Are we increasing in one-time cleans? What are our cancellations? Are we getting complaints? Are we getting 5-star reviews? And then I can look at that to see, all right, are we having, this cleaner isn't really getting any 5-star reviews. What's going on? Let me see if are we having a breakdown with that cleaner? Is it a communication issue? Are the clients just not really liking the clean? Are there areas being missed? So we do take a look at all of those metrics to try to see, where we can fix things, if anything.
With that data, are you able to pull any for like networking to know like, hey, if I bring on this partnership, I'll get X, Y, and Z back? Do you have any partnerships? Are you going to networking events or doing networking yourself?
Not at this time. And that's something that we do plan to do in the future. It's been pretty organic at this particular time within the past, 6 months or so. So we do plan on doing some networking. We want to start working with more property managers and apartment complexes and try to get some partnerships going there so we can do some good recurring cleans in apartment buildings. But that's the plan for now, but we're just not currently doing it yet.
Okay. Again, in a digital climate like this, how big a role is social media in your business?
Very big, very big. And that is something that is a part of the day-to-day tasks, just making sure that we are constantly updating our Instagram, our Facebook page. We'll be getting into some more video marketing soon, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. But I think nowadays, if you need to be on social media, your business, if you're looking for customers, you have to have a presence. It's not just a website. Clients want to see more than that. They want to see photos. They want to see videos. They want to see feedback from other clients. So you need to have yourself in multiple areas of the internet so that way you can reach more people.
100%. And also, I mentioned this in several interviews throughout the years. If you just get your website and not even a Google profile, just one link for someone to click.
Yeah.
Social is free. It's also, if you don't get it and somebody who is trying to scam you can sign up under your name and double as your business, scam your potential clients. Or then, if not that, try and sell you your own name back to you so you can have it. So my tip always is when you're first starting, when you get your name, check if, Facebook, Instagram, all the handles are available and get it right away and sign up.
Yes.
Because then you
use it right away, get it.
Exactly. And also when somebody will just look up your name, you'll have all those links already coming up on Google. And I'd say at least in the beginning, once a week, just to show that you're alive and active in your business. Doesn't have to be daily, but something just to get started until you can really ramp it up and go more into it. Managing growth. How are you handling that with the growth of your child at the same time? You're growing two babies at the same same time. One's a 2-year-old and one's a 4-month-old.
Yeah. Oh man, it's definitely a time, and I can't believe I'm doing both things at the same time. But again, I love it, and it really does go back to just having those processes in place for every situation. Again, it's going to be the same situations that come up. And I think before I was, I took every situation as an individual situation. Well, what do I want to do with this client? And, knowing this is an issue. Let's say, for example, the electricity is not working, this client, I feel bad. I don't want to charge them a cancellation fee. Taking my feelings out of it. And really just, what do our documents say if the electricity is not working? That's what we need to do. There's no thought about it. There's no wasting time. Move on and move forward. So yes, having those processes to easily just refer back to, and then working to bring on a virtual assistant. So that way, a lot of those just daily operations I'm not doing, and I can focus on growing and getting back into those paid ads and really, just generating more revenue.
Issues, complaints from customers. What's your thing that you do first and foremost when you get something like that?
First and foremost, I let the client know that, we're very apologetic for the experience that they've had. We are taking a look into it right away. Just letting them know that we're there. We are looking into it. It isn't just, your complaint is going unheard. It's just going, into a random inbox, going to AI. No, I'm a human. I'm here. I hear you, and you hear me talking to you, letting you know that we are looking into the situation right away to see if there was a breakdown on our end. And if there was, then we are quick to rectify those issues. And if it was just, a misunderstanding, for example, we recently had someone say that we didn't clean the window tracks inside of the windows. Well, we don't clean that. So, and it was just as simple as just explaining that to the client. Like, we understand your concerns. We understand, you would have liked for that to be clean, but that is just not a part of what we do at this time.
Sure.
In that specific cleaning.
The communication, and the kindness, right? Yeah. Right off the bat, and just keeping a level head, even if somebody's swearing at you,
Mm-hmm.
And it happens.
Yeah.
It happens, smooths over things a lot faster. And even if they're still pissed or irate afterwards, then you can figure out if they're going to be your ideal customer going forward. Mm-hmm. And if you want to continue it, if not, then you can just cut ties there.
Yes. And that is something that we do as well. You can recognize red flags in cleaners, but you can recognize red flags in clients as well. And not every client is going to be your client, and that's okay. That's the beauty of, having your own business. You get to choose, if that is money that you would like to pursue or not.
For sure. And that's something somebody starting out should know. Don't try and go after everybody. That is going to sink you faster than you can start swimming. 100%. Mentally and emotionally.
Yes.
And probably financially on top of that. Yeah. Speaking of finances, how much revenue do you remember what month you started?
It was May 2023.
May of 2023.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how much revenue you've done since then, since you started in total?
About 400,000.
400,000 in just over 2 years.
Yes.
Wow. That's fantastic. Do you remember year one, what you did May till December?
I don't have that figure. This year we'll do about 200. Let me go into Booking Koala. Let me check really quickly. Luckily, you can edit. All right, 1 second. December. All right, so 2023, that revenue was about 100,000, and we started beginning of May. And then I can just click last year in Booking Koala, apply. Last year was about 153.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And you said roughly 200 this year?
That's what we're looking to be at, yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Besides revenue, what metrics are you tracking?
Of course, revenue, number of bookings, number of recurring versus one time. Of course, we're looking at our profit margins. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then of course your regular expenses.
Do you know where you're at gross profit right now?
Right now, I do not have that number in front of me.
Okay.
I have to see.
That's fine. That's just, if you knew it, I was curious.
Nope, I don't have that one in front of me. It's somewhere.
It's okay.
But I want to say we're doing about 30%-ish or so.
Okay. So you're in the good sweet spot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Financial management, planning. It's not a fun thing to do.
It's not.
But something every business owner should be always doing. How do you approach it?
So I have started with looking at all of our weekly numbers. And again, I do utilize Booking Koala for that. So that makes it very easy. But, we have our goals in place. It has been a little bit slower over this past year just because, we've had a baby. So that kind of slows down what I can do. But now that we're kind of getting out of those trenches and really honing in on what we need to do to grow, I think that we'll really get somewhere, just get further. I forgot what the original question was. Can you edit this part?
Yeah. Your approach to financial management and planning.
Yes. So knowing where you're at, knowing the numbers and just looking at numbers more on a weekly basis versus just, looking at them annually when you're doing your taxes.
Sure. Mm-hmm. I just remembered that you are hitting these numbers, you're getting these milestones with no paid ads and just your customer service and your positive reviews. And it's really fascinating to see which markets in at least the US are able to do what they do with certain marketing techniques. Sure. And at times you did have running some ads running. You did get your clientele book up to a certain point. Yeah. But I feel like with you being in Atlanta, in the last couple of years, it seems like corporations are moving there and having their hubs there. I know one of my dear friends, she works for Delta, and Delta has their hub there. And it just very interesting for that in the regards of it's not the usual East Coast, New York or Boston, or, a little bit of Chicago has some, or the West Coast, Texas. Atlanta's coming up on the map, and it's amazing because all these businesses that are starting to help everyone who works there now, who has 9-to-5s, now new businesses are able to flourish, and amazingly, not much marketing has to go into it.
Yeah. And that's why I say customer service goes a long way, because that word of mouth is a big deal. And when you're just a good person, you're kind to people, you listen to them, and you're not just putting them on the phone with AI, then I really think it goes a long way, especially nowadays. So
for sure. Strategies for risk management is also another thing. You don't want to grow too quickly if you can't catch up and maintain your customer service and satisfaction. What's your approach to risk management, and what strategies do you use?
I think it just goes back to knowing where you are and understanding what you can handle. Even just with us turning off the paid ads, I knew that I couldn't be at the phone at every single second to answer every single call. So I just felt that it was a good time to turn it off. Bringing in or I think another good example is, we want to get into commercial and, do a lot of different kind of contracts, but trying to spread yourself too thin, too fast can be a risk as well. So just knowing, or understanding that it may just be best to just focus on going for those apartment complexes versus trying to do apartment complexes, post-construction, commercial, do medical offices. Because now you're just trying to spread yourself too thin. And if you can just focus on one specific avenue, become an expert in that, and then move forward, I think that will, mitigate your risk.
Huge. You, as a business owner, as an ambitious business owner, you want it all?
You want it all. I want the millions.
Right. But spread yourself too thin, you're going to snap and things will fall apart. And hopefully it doesn't fall apart to a point where you can't put it all back together and save yourself. So some risk to a degree is good, especially, especially for motivation purposes. Mm-hmm. But keeping yourself in check is definitely needed by just making sure you're rolling through the days and weeks and months ahead. Mm-hmm. Speaking of the days, weeks, months, years ahead, your business in the next 5 to 10 years, what do you want to see out of it?
Well, I definitely want to hit that million mark. Again, I think that's a goal of everyone. I do see myself more out of the business, having an operations manager. I do see myself in multiple cities. I would love to be, in other metro areas. But again, not growing too fast, not bringing on too much risk.
Sure.
But yeah, the next 5 to 10 years, I do see Atlanta Cleaning Geeks as a household name. It may be Charlotte Cleaning Geeks. It may be Denver Cleaning Geeks. Who knows? But growth is the goal. And to get that recurring $1 million revenue would be amazing.
Absolutely. And we're here for you every step of the way. We can't wait to see you hit that. And with us being in the picture, what role does, technology play in your day-to-day operations?
A huge, huge role. I mean, it's been Booking Koala since we started. When we were still in the research phase, trying to get launched, I was attempting to use Launch 27, I believe is what it was called at the time. It just wasn't working for me. I don't know. It was a lot more complex than Booking Koala was. And so when we found Booking Koala, we said, yeah, this is great. And it's been with you guys since then. So that is, I'm on Booking Koala all day, every day. I have multiple tabs open on my phone. It's all on my computer. So literally that is where I spend the majority of my time. That is where we do all of our scheduling. All of our customers log in there. And, if it wasn't for Booking Koala, I wouldn't be, an entrepreneur at home with my 4-month-old. And I just think that's a big deal. So when I do become that multimillionaire, what you will see, hats off to Booking Koala, because you guys would have gotten us that far. So
well, we appreciate that. I know everybody here loves to hear success stories, and you guys are what makes us give you this and make it possible. So if you guys aren't happy, we're not happy. Mm-hmm. Earlier this year, we went through the hardest thing in March. How did that affect your business? How did you overcome that? What was that time like for you? And if my math is right, you were starting third trimester?
I was pretty big at the time.
Okay. So you were getting to the big day.
I was. So to be fair, my head wasn't fully in the game anyway. So, at that time we did have the ads off. I was already like kind of answering calls, kind of not. At this point, I'm ready to just have my baby. That's all I'm thinking about. So it's really just for me getting through the day-to-day operations and saying, that's it for me. So yes, it was a struggle. It was a hard time. But the fact that you all were able to communicate with us, and I don't think it was ever at a point where my business was just completely negatively affected, or, I had to pull up or go to a customer's house to rectify a situation, or, nothing that was an emergency situation. We were able to maneuver and do what we needed to do to, just deal with the downtimes. But again, you guys were great. You communicated through Facebook, you communicated through email, you let us know what was going on. And then when you mentioned that you also had a newborn, I was like, oh my gosh, I felt so bad for you. I said, they're going through all of this and they have a baby.
Yeah. She was 6 weeks old at the time.
Yeah. I remember you saying that in the Facebook. I said, oh, bless their heart. I just felt so bad. So the fact that you all were able to get through this and, we're here today looking back on it, I mean, that's truly amazing. And that's what it's about. You'll be tested, but you really pulled through. So good job on that. And
thank you. Yeah. Pulling all resources and just also stopping to breathe during that whole thing was probably key, because it was 2 hours of sleep every night for like 2 weeks and just figuring out what the hell was going on. It was hard, but we managed. It was baby steps. It was just a step back so that we could launch forward and be that much more solidified and know what we need to do to give you guys the best product possible.
Right. Yep.
Going into the features, what's one feature that you couldn't live without that you use every day?
So that's exactly what I was about to mention. The reminder emails, I think not just reminder emails, but the emails in general. So the booking confirmation, log into your account, and then the reminder emails as well. I think the fact that I don't even have to think about all of that, it's just boom, confirm booking, and then all of that goes and it happens. That's amazing. And I truly, truly love that feature. And when there were issues with the platform, I was able to go check the emails and look at all the details there. So that saved us a lot of time.
Okay.
We were able to go pull up the booking confirmation and, like I said, get all the details from the emails if we weren't able to pull up the calendar or the booking itself. So that was great. And I think that's definitely my favorite feature.
Very smart. That's honestly the first time I've heard anybody Yeah, I mean, every interview since I ask about that time. And this is the first I'm hearing of, I've had people say, well, I synced Google Calendar right away, or I had Zapier send my booking details to another CRM and it was there. Luckily, thankfully, you didn't have all that, but you utilized something that was already in the system. And it's the automated emails that you had enabled, and you just went back and looked at them.
Yeah. And
awesome.
Again, I was in my third trimester, so at the time I wasn't looking to set up a new calendar and create all of these new processes. So I'm just trying to find a solution. What can get me through this day? How can I just figure out this problem right now? And so that's what it led to.
My wife called it, she said pregnancy brain was real when she was in her third trimester, especially. And she's like, I just turn off everything, turn off. I couldn't think and just
there's nothing going on in there.
Yeah, just go. Just go. Flip side to that, what's something that you would like to see added that we don't have?
If the booking form, and I believe I asked this before, and you all said you can't do it currently. But if you could on the booking form do like initial deep cleaning, then recurring monthly or recurring biweekly, but have it on the same form, that would be like amazing. Because currently I have to go in and price, an initial deep cleaning, probably give a discount for that, then go and start over and do a pricing for the recurring after that for a standard cleaning.
Right.
That is my biggest. If you guys can do that, that would be great.
Okay. Yeah, that's not something you can do right now, but that is a good one. And I don't know if you have already added it to the feature request page or not. If not, I would highly suggest put it in there and then share it to the Facebook community group and have people upvote it and leave comments on, how can it be, give their input, what they would like to see out of that feature, because we're always in there and we want to make sure that that page inevitably is going to be empty and you guys have everything.
Yes.
Final question.
Okay.
Simple, but thought-provoking a little bit. Your 10-year-old self, with all the know-how you have now, all your experiences, if you can go back in time and talk to your 10-year-old self, what are you telling her?
I would tell her to focus on building a life and not just a career. I would tell her to don't get so completely honed in and focused on going to college and getting a good job, but to keeping an open mind to what the possibilities are and tap into your creative side, because you never know, what that could bring about. And I think that just goes back to previous generations telling us, go to school, get good grades, get a job, you'll be set. And that's not really the case for our generation and the generations after us. So I think that would be my biggest advice. College is great. I loved college. It has great benefits, but it's not the only route. And you can do that and then some, even a lot more without college.
Absolutely. Experience alone, the friendships,
yes,
the, school spirit and just the memories in general are a huge plus and definitely worth it, but it should not be the end all be all.
That
you should not be stressing every single day about it. Life is about living and experiencing, and it shouldn't be as stressful as the last however many years you want to go back to COVID, you want to go pre-COVID. There's always going to be stuff. Life throws stuff at you fast. And it just will continue to do so because that's how life is. You just need to slow down, take it a day at a time, and enjoy, especially with the people around you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Briana. Thank you so much for joining me and sharing your story with everybody. Your business is so young. You're young. Your baby's young. You have so much ahead of you, and you're doing so well. You're killing the game, and I can't wait to talk to you in the next coming months and years and see when you really turn on the marketing, how fast and how hard you're going to grow and how many city takeovers you're going to be in.
Yes. We look forward to it. And thank you so much for having me today. I really appreciate you. I appreciate your company. And I am looking forward to growing with you and just looking forward to the future.
Awesome. We appreciate it. And to everybody watching, thanks for another episode of the Qualified Podcast. We'll see you next time.